Okay, we're off. Hello and welcome everybody. This is a verbling class and my name is Teacher Amy. And today this class is going to be a reading and pronunciation practice class. Our topic today is how pickpockets trick your mind. I don't know whether any of you have ever been pickpocketed. I don't believe I have, but I can imagine that it must be quite an unpleasant experience. We're going to read an interesting article about how these pickpocketers make their job work. We're going to be practicing our reading and pronunciation skills and also learning some new vocabulary, so do come on in if you would like to join us. Before we get started and say hello to the students, there are a couple of things I want to let you know about. So there are some handy pages that can really help you with your time here on Verbling. I'm going to give you the links to those now in the Verbling chat box. And the first of them is my Facebook page. So this is the Verbling Teacher Facebook page, which most teachers have. Feel free to go and check that out. It's a really good way to keep in touch informally, to see what I'm posting about upcoming classes or interesting things I've found during the week. And please do share your ideas, comments, questions, and interesting or useful resources with all of us too, if you'd like to. The second useful page is my Verbling Teacher page, which is the second of the two links there in the chat box. If you'd like to check this page out, what you will find is some more information about me as a teacher, my upcoming classes with Verbling over the next couple of weeks, and what the topics are in case you'd like to book a slot in one of those in advance. If you click on the blue follow button, then you will be automatically notified of any upcoming classes, so you don't have to keep logging on to the page, which can be quite useful. You can also write me a message if you have any questions about anything, or you can check out my general timetable if you're interested in a session of private tutoring. Then this is where you will find my schedule, so you can see if any of the times suit you. A lot of the students like to have private tutoring as well as attending classes, just to sort of enhance their personal learning and maybe work towards any specific goals that they have themselves. Whereas in class we focus on sort of general improvements. So do check all of those things out if you'd like to. And we're going to say hello to our students now. So first of all, we have Juan Carlos. Hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Good. What did you do yesterday? Or what time is it, Juan Carlos, for you at the moment?
Now is 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Have you had a good day?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
A little busy, but it was good, and I had some fun. I I saw the football game one or two hours ago. Was
Excellent.
great.
Was it a good game? I didn't see it myself.
No, it was good, but it was unbelievable because the German won for a lot of goals over Brazil. It was unbelievable. They were very lucky.
Absolutely, it's quite unusual. You're right, at this stage of the tournament to have so many goals. Yeah, absolutely, Juan Carlos. Are you a football fan normally?
No, not too much.
Not really?
Not really, but I was a fan to Colombia, my team, Colombia, but they lost that game. They go out from the World Cup.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I'm a fan of Colombia.
Okay, so they were knocked out. They were knocked out.
Yeah, they were
knocked out.
And I know again. They were not. No, they got out from the World Cup.
Yes.
I mean that. No, knockout. No.
We generally say that they were knocked out. If you have a look in the Verbling chat box, Juan Carlos, I've typed it for you.
Yes, they were, but I no agree but because I understand that they were knockout is like when you fight when other and they go to the to floor. Is
Yes, that is another interpretation, like with boxing, yeah?
yeah,
Yeah.
but maybe Brazil was knockout today, but not Colombia because Colombia lost, but it was just two goals. It was a normal lost.
A
Do you know?
normal loss, a normal loss. Yes, but
Normal
because
loss.
the reason why we say that they were knocked out, Juan
Yeah,
Carlos, is
a
because it's a
normal loss.
tournament where if they lose their game, they cannot carry on, right? They're not allowed to play anymore. So we
Yeah.
use the term knocked out here as well. But you're correct. It
Okay.
also means, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were knockout.
Yes, they were. They were. Which is a
Okay.
big shame. I'm sorry for you. Poor Colombia.
Thank.
All right. Well, welcome to the class, Juan Carlos. We'll say also hello to Asma. Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Asma, I don't remember if we've met before or not.
What?
Have I met you before? Is this your first class with me?
Yeah, this is the first class, yeah.
Well, it's good to meet you.
Yeah, nice. Me too, yeah.
Which country are you from?
I'm from Tunisia.
Tunisia. Wow, I don't think I've had a student from Tunisia before. Welcome.
Yeah, I
I
cannot hear you very well. I don't know why.
Okay. Can you hear me okay, Juan Carlos?
Yes.
Okay, maybe you need to just turn up your volume, Asma. Must be your volume that's too low.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's lovely to have you. Oh, she's disappeared. Maybe she's having connection problems. Let's hope she comes
Yeah.
back, and we'll say hello to Kako.
Hello, Amy.
Hello, how are you doing? Have you been watching the football like Juan Carlos?
Yes, I'm well.
Good.
Even though Brazil um, has made I think the worst match of the history of World Cup, of his participation in World Cup. But it's the life.
It's life, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kako. Juan Carlos and I were just discussing the fact that it was quite unusual to get so many goals in this late stage of the tournament.
Yeah.
To have such an imbalance in the number of goals. But anyway, I'm sorry about Brazil. I'm sorry.
Me too.
All of our teams are now knocked out. My team was knocked out ages ago. Colombia's next, and then Brazil. And Tunisia, unfortunately, I don't think was involved in the first place. Isn't that right, Asma? Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, it's okay, yeah. Now it's okay.
All right, excellent. Well, welcome to all three of you. We do have some more bookings for this class, but we're just going to get started anyway. What we're reading today is an interesting article about pickpockets. Can somebody tell me what is a pickpocket? Or who, should I say? Does anybody know?
Pickpocket is a way to store to a way to robbery, store,
Yes, to steal. To steal.
not to steal. Yeah.
Yeah. And how? How do they steal things, Juan Carlos?
They put their hands on your pocket, and
Pockets.
nobody know how, but they had a strong skill to do that.
Yes, absolutely. So they don't break into your house in the middle of the night, and they don't steal your car, but what they do is they put their hands in your pockets and grab your money or your passports or your jewelry or whatever you might have. And sometimes the best pickpockets actually take things off you, take your watch off you or your necklace or something. So they literally take things off your bodily person. And has anybody in this class ever been the victim of a pickpocket? Has anyone had this experience where they got something stolen from them by a pickpocket? No?
No, I was, but many years ago when I
Mhm.
was a teenager, and I just arrived in this city, a big city. I was I grew up in a small city, and then I came here, this the capital city, from Colombia, Bogota,
Mhm.
more big city, and there are a lot of the uh, crime,
Crime. Yep.
crime, yes, and it was in a bus.
Oh, okay.
The, it was very crowded, and the is the stoller. I don't know
The
what the name.
robbers. The
The robber.
robbers?
The robber.
See?
They take advantage of that. There are a lot of people around you, and
Mm,
it's difficult to know what it happened.
yeah.
But they they pick from my some money from my pockets.
Oh, I'm sorry, Juan Carlos. And it's just happened to you
That's,
once?
excuse me?
It only happened to you once?
Ah,
One
one.
time?
Yes, that once that time.
Once is enough.
Not. Yes.
And did you learn a lesson from it? Like, did you become more aware of yourself after that happened?
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Y- And even now, I'm very careful when I had to get in a bus, in
Yeah.
a,
I'm not surprised.
even in another countries,
Hmm.
because uh, it's not Colombia. There are other countries, they have robbers, and
Yes.
you have to be careful.
Yep, absolutely. So Juan Carlos has had this experience before. I'll say hello quickly to Tadeo. Hello.
Hi, hello teacher.
Nice to meet you, Tadeo. Where are you from?
I'm from Mexico,
Oh,
Monterrey, Mexico.
right.
Yes.
Very nice to meet you. And tell me, why are you learning English? For what purpose?
Well, just I think that I need to improve my English skills and I try to practice more.
Excellent. Well, welcome. It's great to have you in this class. We've been talking about pickpockets. Do you know what that is?
No pickpocket. It's like pocket. I know there's a pocket, but pickpockets I don't understand. There is a phrasal verb for there is
No,
something.
actually, a pickpocket is a type of a thief, a type of a robber who
Okay.
steals things from your pockets, right? When you're walking in the city, or like what Juan Carlos just said, if you're on the bus or in a crowded place, sometimes people will steal things from you. They'll put their hand in your pocket and steal your money, or your passport, or your bag, or something.
Yeah, okay.
So
Okay.
it's
I don't.
a type of thief.
Yeah.
To you, Tadeo.
Sorry, could you please repeat?
Yeah, have you ever had a pickpocket steal something from you?
That kind of robbery, no, but some days I was at a party with a friend and
Hmm.
I just left the car in a parking lot and I don't know who break the window and stole a few things that I have in my car.
Oh
But
no, so your car was broken into.
yes,
Okay. but you've never had a pickpocket.
No.
Well, good. I didn't want the whole class to be saying, yes, I've had a pickpocket. We're gonna read an article about it, everybody. So I'm gonna do what I usually do is a screen share, so that we can read together. And the aim of this class is to help you with your reading skills, so your pronunciation, and also your vocabulary. So what we will do is we will read a short piece. Each person will take a turn to read, and then I'll pause and help you with any mistakes that you make, and we'll talk about vocabulary and find out some interesting stuff about pickpockets. So I'm going to ask Asma if you could read the title, please, for us, which is here.
Yeah. How pickpockets trick your mind.
All right. So don't forget, guys, a pickpocket is a noun, and it's the name of the thief, okay? And here's a picture of it happening. This guy's obviously the pickpocket, this poor unsuspecting lady. Okay, Asma, can you read the caption here for us, please?
Okay. Pickpockets pockets use much more than sleight of hand, says Carolina Williams. They hack your brain's weaknesses.
Excellent. Okay, sometimes these are these shorter sentences that sort of summarize things are harder to pick up the meaning from than others. So is anyone able to explain to me in their own words what this sentence here means? Are there any new vocabulary words we need to talk about?
It's late.
Yes.
Okay, this is a phrase here. A sleight of hand means that you have an ability to move your hands very quickly. So it's often what we say about magicians or pickpockets or anybody who uses their hands in a very, very quick way so that you can't really see what's happening.
Is late related to is light?
S-L-I-G-H-T, you mean?
Yeah.
No, it's a different word,
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? No? What does it mean to hack? Does anyone understand that one?
I don't know.
No? Nobody ever heard that before?
Like take an advantage from something.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Take advantage of something. And generally we use this word when we're talking about entering a system or breaking into something that you don't have permission for, right? So you can hack somebody's computer. That means that you break into their computer. You try and figure out their password and you break in. But this time we're hacking somebody's brain. So we're going to find out what it means by this. So Asma, I'll get you to continue with this first paragraph, please.
Okay, yeah. But please, you can share your screen, please. Can you please share?
What did you say, Asma? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay, just do you want to zoom in?
Yeah. My mother has eyes in the back of her head. She also taught me from an early age to be suspicious of strange men, especially when they give you presents, which makes it all the more surprising that a nice man bearing flowers managed to sweep 20 euros. Uh, yeah, please, teacher, can you share your screen?
Yes, I am sharing my screen. Do you want me to zoom in further? Is that better?
Yeah, it's okay now, but sometimes it's not appeared. I don't know why. Okay. which makes it all the more surprising that a nice man bearing flowers managed to sweep 20 euros from her purse while she was holding it in her hands and looking straight at it.
Thank you, Asma. I'll get you to read one more piece because this goes with that, what you've just read. So keep going.
Me?
Yes, please.
Uh-huh. He said he was collecting for a charity, so I pulled out a euro. She explains. He said, no, no, that is too much, and offered to look in my purse to find a smaller coin. He must have slid out the 20 euro note at the same time. I didn't even notice until an hour later. I felt yeah, I felt so stupid.
Thank you, Asma. Okay, great reading. What I'd like to do is just to go through a couple of words in here and help you with them. So if you wouldn't mind just repeating them after me, please, okay?
Okay.
All right, so this one here is suspicious.
Suspicious.
Perfect. This one is presents.
Presents.
Good. This one here is to swipe. To swipe.
Wipe.
Perfect. Then we've got church
Charge.
and notice.
Notes.
Good. Well done. Thank you. All right. Does anyone have any questions? You yourself, Asma, might have questions too. Let me know. Do we understand all of these phrases, vocab, grammar?
Yeah, presents.
Present.
What does it mean in this sense? Yeah.
In this case, it's just the same as the word gifts, Asma. It's the same as gifts.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Any others?
Bearing flowers.
Bearing flowers. If we use this word, somebody comes bearing flowers or bearing gifts, it means bringing in this case. Bringing. Or the same as something like carrying. If you're bearing something, you're carrying it.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Has anyone heard the expression eyes in the back of her head before?
I, I have never seen this expression, but by the context, I think that it means to pay attention around you, not only um, in front of you, but laterally and on your back.
That's absolutely right, Kako. We tend to use it when we're talking about mums, right? Mothers. Because if we say somebody has eyes in the back of her head, it's usually because the children are doing something naughty and they think she's not looking, but because she's a mother, she's got like a sixth sense or something, and she knows what her kids are doing, even though she's not actually looking at them. So it's quite a common expression, and yes, you explained it really well. Okay, so let's continue reading. Kako, if you can take over for us, please, from She Needn't Feel Bad.
But she needn't feel bad. According to neuroscientists, our brains come pretty much hardwired to be tricked, thanks to the vagaries of our attention and perception systems. In fact, The key requirement for a successful pickpocket isn't having nifty fingers, it's having a working knowledge of the loopholes in our brains. Some are so good some are so good at it that researchers are working with them to get an insight into the way our minds work.
Keep going, Kako.
The most important of these loopholes is the fact that our brains are not set up to multitask. Most of the time, that is a good thing. It allows us to filter out all but the most important features of the world around us. But neuroscientists Susana Martinez Conde, the author of the book Sleights of Mind, says that a good trickster can use it against you. She should know. She should know, as a researcher at the Laboratory of Visual Neuroscience in Arizona, she has studied how Las Vegas stage pickpocket Apollo Robbins performs his tricks. Las
Great
Vegas.
reading. Thank you, Kako. You can see a
Welcome,
picture of
teacher.
him below. All right, so some great reading there from you. Well done. Just a few words I want to clarify, okay? So the first one is here. This one is insight. Insight.
Insight. I
Yeah.
don't remember how I
Pronounced it.
how did I pronounce
You just put the emphasis on the
how
wrong
I
syllable.
pronounced
Yeah. So you pronounced it insight, but it should be insight.
insight.
That's better. Yes. So the emphasis on the first syllable, Kako, okay?
Insight. Insight.
That's better, much better. And this one here is multitask. Multitask.
Multitask.
Perfect. Now, the other parts were just because it was part of the sentence. So, your reading of the individual words is really nice, and I know that when you don't understand the meaning or you've never seen it before, it can be really tricky. But let me help you, because this sentence contains a kind of a collocation, which is all but. So it should be read, it allows us to filter out all but the most important features of the world around us. All but the most important features of the world around us. Sorry. So all but. Does anyone know what that means, that little collocation there?
Oh but.
Yeah. What's the meaning of that? Anybody know?
Everything except
Yeah,
the most
absolutely.
important features. Okay, I thought that it was a general question. Sorry.
No, it was a general question. Perfect. Thank you, Kako. That's absolutely right.
Okay.
And the other thing, the last thing, is this one here. This is a collocation as well, Kako. And you put the emphasis on the person in this case. So she should know. She should know.
She should know.
Yeah, because what it's saying is that she, as opposed to other people, should know because of the fact that she's a researcher, right? So therefore we need to put the emphasis on her. She should know.
She should know.
Absolutely. Well done.
Teacher, any comment about intonation? to me? Any orientation could you
Generally,
give?
Kako, your intonation was really great, apart from those specific things I just mentioned.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. Great reading. Okay, so let's ask the other students if they have any questions about vocab or grammar, meaning.
Vagaries. I had a question
Sure.
that about vagaries. Vagaries.
Aha, here we are. Where is it? The vagaries. This comes from the word vague. Do we know what the word vague means?
Wave.
Vague. I've typed it in the chat box. V-A-G-U-E. Can anyone explain what that word means? The word vague. No? Nobody heard it before?
No, something is about a lack of attention.
Lack of attention. Yes, it is to do with lack of attention. Vague means basically unclear. Something is unclear. Or not, or maybe not precise, something along those type of lines, where you're not sure about it. So if you vaguely know what something means, it means that you have an idea, but you're not sure, you're not clear about it. And what it's talking about here, Juan Carlos, is your attention and perception systems have lots of things that are unclear, right?
Yes.
Is that better? Is that now clear?
No, now it's clear.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah, but the
Perfect.
context, but it's the first time I see that word, vagaries.
Yeah.
It's
Vagaries.
vagaries.
Yeah, it's not a very common word, Juan Carlos. The more common is the word vague, and therefore you can figure out the meaning from that. But I'd say vagaries is quite an unusual word, so don't worry too much about that one.
Okay.
All right. Any other
Sure.
questions? Yeah.
Nifty fingers.
Nifty. That's a cool word. Does anyone know what nifty means?
No, it's the first time
First time you saw it?
yeah.
Anyone else ever heard this before?
Maybe nifty, maybe quick.
Yeah, in this case it means quick, absolutely. But it also means if something is nifty, it can be useful, can be attractive. It's actually a type of word that my dad uses to mean something is really good. So if he sees something and thinks, "Oh, that's cool," he'll say, "Oh, that's nifty." But yes, nifty fingers. Pardon?
Nifty means not fashion.
Fashion? Not so much fashionable, not so much fashionable as handy, useful. Kind of makes your life easier in some way. That type of idea.
Okay.
All right. Any others? Do we know what a loophole is? Has anyone ever heard the word loophole before? This is quite a common one.
Away, like away.
A problem. Loopholes is a kind of problem.
Not exactly. Not exactly a problem. A loophole is basically the word we use. If there's a law, for example, in a country, there'll normally be some kind of loophole related to the law. And what it means is that the law doesn't cover everything completely thoroughly. There is some way to wriggle out of the law, or there's some way to cleverly avoid the law. So lawyers often use loopholes, if they can, to get their clients off, or so it means it's possible to avoid obeying the law, basically, in some way. And in this case, the loophole means, like, in your brain, the things that it misses, because it has some things that are vague, which we just talked about. It means it has loopholes. Not everything is clearly connected, and the pickpocketers will make the most of these loopholes by so that they can steal stuff from us. It can also mean like a small hole in that kind of way. It's a metaphorical meaning of a small hole. Alright, so let's carry on reading, and I'll get Juan Carlos to read, please, from When Apollo.
Okay. When Apollo gets someone on stage, she says, he's making them look at things. At things. He's talking to them. He's touching their body. He's coming very close to them and producing an emotional response, and he's entering their personal space. It's complete attentional overlap.
Keep going, please.
Okay. So, while sleight of hand helps, it's as much about capturing all of somebody's attention with other movements. Street pickpockets also use this effect to their advantage by manufacturing a situation that can't help but overload your attention system. A classic trick is the stall, used by pickpocketing gangs all over the world. First, a blocker walks in front of the victim or mark, and suddenly stops so that the mark bumps into them. Another gang member will be close behind and will bump into both of them, and then start a staged argument with the blocker. Amid the confusion, one or both of them steal what they can and pass it to a third member of the gang, who quickly makes off with the loot.
Great. Great reading. Well done, Juan Carlos. Thank you. Just a couple of ones to go over. This one here is overload. Overload.
Overload.
Yep.
Overload.
Overload. Yep. And this one here is loot. Loot.
Loot. Loot.
Good.
What does mean, lot?
Loot. Loot? Does anyone know what the word loot means? No? All of these words are related to the topic. So loot is basically something taken illegally from somebody else. If something happens in a country, for example, a war, or maybe a natural disaster like a tsunami or an earthquake, and shops, for example, are unattended, their windows are broken, and people often will go into these shops and steal stuff, right? Because there's been a natural disaster. That's called looting. And this is the same idea. So the loot is basically the stuff that has been stolen. The money or the watch or the bag or whatever. Any other questions from anybody?
Yeah, about Amy. I don't know what is Amy. The second paragraph.
Second paragraph.
Second paragraph.
The last sentence.
The
The
last
first word
sentence.
of the last sentence.
Thank you. Amid. Amid. So it's pronounced like that. And what does amid mean? Does anyone know? Amid the confusion?
In the middle of.
Yeah.
Among.
Among. In the middle of?
Yep.
The middle
absolutely.
of the confusion.
Okay.
All right. So what I want to do is to ask. Let's ask Tadeo. Could you give me a little bit of a summary, Tadeo? What have we learned so far in this article? What points have we covered?
Okay, there is I think it's about research. For
Yep.
some, for just how the thief works, and they try to teach you some tricks or how they used to try to pick up something from your pocket or your value asset from
Yep.
you.
Yep. Can you give me an example of one of the ways that they do it?
Okay, there was I was thinking that there is a guy that just stopping when you are walking, and
Yep.
they take a bunch of advantage of their you're you're distracting
Yep.
and take something like I don't know if it's your wallet or your watch or something valuable from him.
Absolutely. Well done. Brilliant. Thank you. Great summary. We'll scroll down past this other picture. And Tadeo, if you could read, please, from People Think.
Okay. People think it's about distracting someone by making them look away, but it's actually about directing the mind towards something, says James Brown, a stage pickup and hypnotics basis in the UK. If I want you to stop looking at someone on the table, it's much easier for me to give you a good reason to look at something else. If I give you two or three things to focus on, and the one I want you to avoid is not one of them, then that's even better because now you have the illusion of choice.
Keep going.
Other tactics are more physiological. Pickpockets tend to hang out near beware of pickpocket things because they're first things people don't do when they read. It's checking they still have their values helpful and give you away where they are. In in my mother's case, the thief basically was not coming across like a pickpocket. He was a very nice guy and a very personable, not someone that will case you suspect, she said.
Thank you. Great, Tadeo. Okay, let's go through a couple of words here. You had some tricky ones. This one is a hypnotist. Hypnotist.
Hypnotist.
That's great. And then this word came straight after, and I'm sure that you know this one, but just because it was straight after a tricky one, it was based.
Based.
Yeah. Okay, this one's in English is pronounced the silent P. So you do not pronounce the P, it's psychological.
Psychological.
Yeah, perfect. This one is here is signs.
Signs.
And then we have valuables.
Okay, valuables.
And the last one was cause.
Cause.
Great, thank you. Great reading, well done. All right, let's talk about this section, guys. Are there any new words here for you? No? Do we understand everything?
Yes.
Excellent, that's great. Okay, I'm going to ask Asma, why do pickpockets hang out near beware of pickpocket signs?
Because the first thing people do when they read it's check they still have their valuable.
Yes, and how does this help the pickpocketers, Asma?
And from giving away what they are.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I'm finding it a bit tricky to hear you. Could you maybe speak up a little bit? Has anyone ever done this before? Has anyone ever seen a sign saying, beware of pickpockets, and then immediately gone to check you still have your wallet or check you still have your watch on? Do you have signs like this? Here you can see a sign, attention, pickpockets. Do you guys have signs that say something similar to this in your country? Because I don't recall ever seeing one of these signs, I have to say.
Never.
No, I have never seen, but I have already seen much times on the television reports about uh, the streets, crossing of streets where pickpockets usually um, were attacking people. I have already seen much on the television.
You have seen on the news, or what do you mean by on the television?
On
Kako?
the news by
Okay.
television.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think that if you saw one of these signs that you would be tempted to check your valuables or not? Anybody?
Yeah.
What do you think, Juan Carlos? Yeah, Asma?
Yeah, I
Maybe,
think
but
if there are warnings, signs, I think I agree to tend to check my possession thing.
Yeah. You think you would. What about you, Juan Carlos? Would you?
uh, maybe that the article is right because that's the natural uh, uh, I don't know how to say that natural. You try to,
It's natural. It's
uh,
natural to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
but from now I have read these articles, so uh, it's like so that kind of signs. So I will I I I don't I won't go to see my possessions.
Yeah, you won't check. You won't check
I
for your
won't check
possession.
my possessions. Yes.
Me, Juan Carlos, I have to agree with you. I think probably I would have done so, like Asma said, because it's the natural thing to do, like you just said yourself. So, but now we've read this article, perhaps we won't be pickpocketed. Let's hope so. What do you think, Tadeo? Would you be tempted to check your possessions if you saw a sign like this?
Yeah, well, if I see that kind of warning, yes, I think I try to carry my wallet in my hand because there is something weird and something scary if you see that kind of signs.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that boys or girls are more vulnerable in this case? Because I would say that boys and men, they tend to have wallets, right? But
Yeah,
girls tend to have a whole bag. Do you
yeah.
think that which do you think is more vulnerable to pickpocketers?
Well, I think there is the same, or I don't know, because well, if a girl carry a bag, I think there is more easy but they have to use the force or something more violent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the more vulnerable are people that cannot run. For example, people um, uh, overweight
Uh-huh.
people,
Mhm.
um, and also women and elderly people.
Yeah, definitely. But what about, do you think if you noticed someone pickpocketing you, what would be your reaction? Would you fight against it, do you think? Or would you just let them do it and be scared? Does it depend on what's happening?
Um, Police generally orient people to not react
Mhm.
because pickpockets, criminals generally are very fast in their actions, and maybe they can be with guns. They can hurt. They can put the life of people in risk, and then it's more um, sensible to not react. But it is tough to be harmed, to be in a situation, in a tough situation like that, and doesn't react. I think it's tough. It's a tough situation. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point, Kako. Good point. Have any of you ever been in a situation where you felt threatened by somebody on the street? Maybe not just a pickpocket, maybe something else, a mugger or a thief or somebody violent, or has anyone ever been in that kind of situation before?
No, I had seen that situation, but no, it had been not really near me. Maybe 50 meters, 50 meters from me, and there was a a man, a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Uh, the man was on the motorcycle, and then there was two men on the motorcycle, and then it stole mobile from a girl on the street.
Okay.
Yeah, but yes, it happens sometimes.
Yeah. And so they just only stole her mobile phone.
Excuse me?
They only stole her mobile phone. Is that what you said, Juan
Yes, the
Carlos?
mobile
Yeah.
phone. Yes,
Wow.
that's common here in Latin America, in Venezuela, Colombia. Act Actually, I saw that in Caracas, Venezuela.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, I'd say that it's common in other places too. It's these things happen all over the world, especially in cities, I think, you know.
Especially where?
Um, in cities, especially in cities.
Cities. Ah, okay, cities.
Although it does take place sometimes in smaller areas too. Let's ask before we go, Asma. Asma, how safe is it in Tunisia to walk around with your bag? Do you have take a bag with you when you go out, and do you feel safe as a lady?
Yeah, in general, yeah, but there are some areas that you should to be more careful. Yeah, there are some criminals that can trick you. Yeah.
Yeah, and how do they trick you, Asma?
Yeah, I think like the text by hand.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah. But for me, it's rarely that
for
I
you
have seen something like this.
before. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, it's interesting. The article is keeps on telling you more interesting things, guys, that we are going to have to finish the lesson in a moment. So what I'd love for you to do is to feel free to finish reading that by yourselves. And if you do have any questions about the vocabulary or any of the grammar, then do write to me or make a note on Facebook, and find out more about how these guys work, because I think I'm understanding how they trick you is kind of a key thing in order to avoid them. And it does say at the very end of the article that if you look as if you're aware of your surroundings, that you're focused, that you're participating in the environment, then they tend to avoid you. If you're listening to your iPod or not looking like you're concentrating, then you're more of a target for them. So it's kind of interesting. It's not too long. So do feel free to finish that. I've got another class coming up in a moment, so I'm going to have to finish this one now. And if you would like to practice your speaking a bit more, then do come along to the next class. Otherwise, I hope you all have a good evening or a good day, depending on where you are. Take care, everybody, and I hope to see you again soon.
Okay, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
All right,
you.
thanks,
See you
guys.
soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.